which I'm excited about. That's going to come from somewhere. Sounds great. And as
Oh, must be.
and they all got and then later on, I stayed for a grown-up service, and they were in programming, and
There, yeah. Maybe like
All right, that was so fun.
Yeah, I know. Oh, yeah.
So that's straight.
Yes, this is recording in OBS and
We've got.
there's a memory card in here.
Check its capacity.
I did not.
I think I have. Oh, you can see it here. 8 hours and 6 minutes. That's battery, but I think that's battery.
Well, it says A, and it's on a little SIM card, so we're just checking the display.
Has enough memory. Yeah, but you should.
It has a little SD card with an A on it, and it was in the A slot. So I think that's the remaining time and not the battery.
Also, probably still recording it in 4 modes, yeah, which is fine. It's fine, but it's not the highest capacity. It's HD. So if we put on HD, it's probably like 4 hours.
Okay.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for coming this evening. My name is Elise Dewsbury. I'm the artistic director here at New Musicals, Inc. And thank you. And you're here on an evening that is a first in several different ways. This is the first of our new Monday night reading series, which is an opportunity for our ongoing writer members to have an evening to present work that's in very early stages of development and get a sense of how the audience is feeling about it, get some feedback from you guys as they continue on. And so it's the first of those. It's also the first reading for White Rose, written by Jennifer Rosenfeld. Jennifer's been working very, very hard, and as this piece is in very, very early development, it isn't quite done. So you'll notice that there are some spots where we will be speaking lyrics as opposed to singing songs. A great many of the songs are finished, so you will hear singing, but you will also hear us speaking some of the lyrics in spots where it's not quite done yet. The other things that you need to know are that the setting for the piece is in Munich in 1942 and 1943, so I think you all know what that means. And without further ado, we can get started. So, oh, sorry, one other thing. I will be reading some stage directions just so that you understand, because you're not seeing the full production. everything that's happening. Whenever I read a stage direction, I count on you guys to use your imaginations to visualize what that would look like on stage when there isn't someone reading stage directions and we're all in beautiful costumes. So imagine that, and please do remember to make to use the comment cards so that Jennifer can get lots of feedback as she moves forward with these. So White Rose, book, music, and lyrics by Jennifer Rosenfeld. Time 1942 to 1943 in Munich. Act 1, Scene 1, a spotlight illuminates Sophie alone on a dark stage.
The hills, the hills, the hills and the stream, so far away yet close as a dream. The perfect harmony. It goes across the field, and through every tree, where the birds still sing and the fish still swim, free to move, free to pray, free to say what they wish to say. Could that be me one day? Maybe, if I pray.
Lights up on the rest of the stage. We are in a munitions factory full of female workers.
Sophie Scholl, get your head out of the clouds. Back to work. You're setting a bad example for our new workers. Liesel and Greta, keep up the fine effort. Just imagine now each of these bullets piercing through the heart of an enemy of our great nation. Whether you picture Jews, communists, or any other rotten traitor, this is your choice. Heil Hitler!
Heil Hitler.
Sophie scurries to take her place on an assembly line in a munitions factory with girls roughly her own age. Each little bullet, one by one, turns our enemies to dust. Each little bullet helps us win, and the world will belong to us. Soldiers at the front, police at every door, men get the credit, but we help win the war. We are the secret weapon with each bullet that we make. Our enemies don't dare step in. Every inch they get will take. Heil Hitler.
5-minute break. Ursula and Gerda, attention. Your service is complete. You may gather your belongings and return home for good. The Fuhrer thanks you for your service.
Excuse me, Stabsführer and Heinrich. I was told that my service would be ending soon. Actually, that's what I was told 6 months ago. Have you heard anything? I only asked because I thought it would be done in time to go to university, but the semester began last week, and I'm afraid it's getting too late now and that I have to wait another year.
Your enthusiasm, your lack of enthusiasm is highly disturbing and even grounds for punishment. You should be grateful to be here serving our country. Less staring, nor working.
Sophie sulks away.
I noticed you weren't singing with the other girls. I'm watching you, Scholl.
Sophie sulks away and removes a letter from her pocket.
What have you got there, Sophie?
That's mine. It's from my brother.
I'm Joel, the only boy who could possibly be writing to you. Your pathetic brother.
He's studying to be a doctor.
Well, he sounds like a coward. Otherwise, he'd be on the front lines with the real men like my fiance. He's probably a lazy slacker, just like you. Don't think I haven't noticed. I've made twice as many bullets as you. You know we don't like traitors here.
At least I have interests beyond boys and gossip.
You think you're so smart.
I was accepted to university. I'm going to be a scientist. That takes a lot more brains than bullets.
Well, no soldier would ever want to marry you with that weird hair and
I'd never marry a soldier.
Finally alone, Sophie opens her letter. Hans appears on the other side of the stage and speaks the contents of his letter.
Dear Sophie, I hope this letter reaches you in time. Happy birthday, little sister. I received your last letter. I would contain my frustrations if I were you. I pity the Gestapo, having to decipher everyone's illegible handwriting, but that's what they're paid to do. Duty is duty, after all. And on that note, I have some brotherly advice. Sophie, you're a fighter. I've known it all along. Soon the clouds will clear and the sun will shine brighter. Don't complain, just be strong.
Whenever we talk about the weather, we're not actually talking about the weather.
You'll join me at the university soon. It'll be just like old times. I even have some new friends for you to meet. You have so much to look forward to. Your brother, Hans.
Break is over. Back to work.
I know I don't have it so bad. For others, it's so much worse. Concentration camps, prison, disappearing for good.
Hitler would smite you on the spot if he saw you dawdling, Sophie.
But come on, worst birthday ever. We are the secret whisper, time on a promise, see Papa, you'll be next time. Coming for rise, now she comes flying. I can't appear too eager, but I pray just the same. Will today be the day? I can't take it anymore.
Pick up your pace. No slowing down.
Each little bullet, one by one, does its job and then it's done. Was a bullet or a soldier, do not fear, we will make another one. Bullets and soldiers, bullets and soldiers, each day we need more. Men get the credit, but they need us to win the war.
Sophie Shaw, attention.
Yes, I'm here.
Today is your lucky day. Your service is complete, for now. But remember, your duty remains to serve Germany with all your efforts. Heil Hitler!
What? Really? Heil Hitler.
Say it like you mean it, Sophie.
We are the secret weapon, fighting enemies all around. It's with us you'll have to reckon. Don't even try to stand your ground.
Heil Hitler!
Sophie runs out of the factory and is left alone on stage.
Just like that, I'm done. I'm free. I'm awake and the nightmare is over. I don't work for them anymore. For 2 years I was trapped and I couldn't adapt to their story of what I am for. I'm so happy, I just can't believe it. Now is my time to pursue all my dreams. I will study all day, it's the game I will play. I'll be someone who's more than she seems. All of my life I've been coddled and sheltered, the quiet stranger who just watches and waits. Now is my time to show what I'm made of, so don't underestimate me.
Sophie, you're back. A wonderful surprise.
What are you reading, Father? Tomas Mann, I love the Magic Mountain. Thank goodness you still have your stash of forbidden books.
I've said it for the last 10 years. The illegal books are the only ones worth reading.
Sophie, is that you? And on your birthday! Tomorrow night we'll celebrate together.
I've missed you, Mother. It's so good to be home. But I'm just here to get my things. I have to leave for Munich as soon as possible so I don't miss any more classes at the university.
Ah, now, you've only just arrived. Sophie, won't you stay for a while?
Sophie, you've been gone so very long.
Sophie, we love you.
Sophie, we miss you.
No, I've gotta go.
Sophie, what's the rush?
Father, you don't understand. My life has been wasting away. For 2 years, nothing has happened to me. Each second has lasted a week. Any solace I find would be just in my mind. Pretend to be next to the creek. And imagine the stars shining above, sending me patience and guidance and love as I counted each miserable day, wishing I could just fly away. I tell myself, Sophie, your life is a song, and one day you'll hear it play. Father, that time is now. I won't wait any longer.
Play, such a child. Stay right here where you belong.
Stay, I will teach you to cook, and you'll sing your own song.
Stay.
Let me be someone that I will respect. Father, there's no time to lose. It's my future we all must protect.
Sophie, it's more dangerous each day. Sophie, that's why we want you to stay. Hans isn't here, your mother's not well. Our little town is safer from what I can tell. Just wait a little longer, just be a little Sophie. Soon you'll have your turn to play.
Father, I'm hearing you. Oh, the world is dangerous. I know I must watch what I say, but I just want to be a student at last. I'll reach my potential that way. I'll be careful, you don't need to fret about me. I promise I'll come back one day, but I know that I can't be held still anymore, and that is why I cannot stay.
Sophie,
I've always known I had something to do, to better myself, to defend what is true. I don't want to wait, let me out of the gate, to start my future today. I promise you I'll be okay. Just let me play. I'll fall down, make mistakes, and just like you.
it's not safe for you out there.
Maybe one day I'll be a great mother like you.
How we wish you could play.
Be what you want. You said that while holding my hand. And now is the time for it all to play out, to live the life I planned. Play. The pause has been lifted, and now is my moment to start. I know you are scared that I'm unprepared, but I hear your voice in my heart. And though we've disagreed, I know you will concede that now it's my turn to play.
Suddenly, there was a loud knock at the door.
Police! Open up!
Magdalena, quick, hide the book.
Father, what do we do?
I'll handle it.
Robert opens the door, and 2 Gestapo officers enter.
What's the meaning of this?
Robert Shaw, You are under arrest for treason. We received the tip that you made traitorous remarks against the Führer.
Mother, it's all right.
How dare you accuse me? I demand to know what evidence you have against me. I'm an honorable citizen.
The evidence? Why, it was your secretary, Frau Schmidt. She claims you referred to our great leader, the Führer, as a scourge of God and a monstrosity on all mankind. You deny it? I commend you for employing such loyal citizens in your business. Although the same can't be said for you, we place you under arrest.
Wait, grab him and begin shuffling him out.
I've been contracted by the government to assist the financial position of our town. The outcome of my report will have direct bearing on your salaries. Essential for the war effort to ensure there's no waste. I was told that nothing should interrupt my ability to complete this report as soon as possible.
The Gestapo officer pauses and confers with the other officer.
You will finish your contract, and then we will come for you, make no mistake. We have our eyes on you. The father of Hans Schmidt. Sure. Twice arrested and only 24 years old. The apple rarely falls far from the tree, unless it can inform us of the poisonous root.
My son fulfilled his duties as a soldier. He served as a medic, treating the wounded.
We are watching you. Make no mistake. How Hitler!
Father, what are they talking about? Are you all right?
Yes. I'm all right. Everything will be fine.
You didn't say those things, did you? This isn't funny. I don't want to leave you and Mother like this.
Sophie, you're right. The danger is everywhere. It is here, too. So, you must go. While you can. Don't wait till they close in on us. You're right. You must live your life now. Do you remember the poem we would read together when you were younger?
Cowardly Thoughts. Your favorite poem by Goethe.
It's my favorite poem by anyone. More necessary now than ever. Cowardly thoughts, weak hesitation, timorous shaking, weak lamentation, born of no anguish. I promise you'll see, they do not set you free. In this family, we do not cower. Always remember that. Repeat after me. Cowardly thoughts, weak hesitation, timorous shaking, weak lamentation, worn of anguish. I promise you'll see, they do not set you free. Gather your forces, never to waver.
Gather your forces, never to waver.
Take the offensive, be ever braver.
Take the offensive, be ever braver.
To call God to your side. We will call God to our side.
Sophie, wait. Take this wine and cake with you. Celebrate your birthday with your brother.
Don't be afraid. Hans will look after you.
Cowardly thoughts, cowardly thoughts, cowardly thoughts.
The lights shift to Hans in his apartment in Munich, where he sits with his friend Alexander.
Alexander, did you see the paper? Hitler expands the war against the communist enemy to the east. We may be drafted again, but not before we do something about it.
I was born in Russia, and I will not return as a soldier. I will never lift a weapon against my own people.
Germany is losing the war, and yet Hitler won't stop the bloodbath. Cowardly thoughts define our nation. Silence can only mean abdication.
Countless lives have been taken. When will the people awaken? Tomorrow we start the fight to save Germany from forever damnation.
Christoph enters carrying a large stack of papers.
Hans, Alexander, look. They are ready a day early.
Christoph, how did you do this?
My stepmother found us another printing press. I do this for her. She is Jewish. When my children are older, I want them to know their grandmother and feel proud, not ashamed.
Hans picks up a leaflet and begins reading aloud.
Every honest German is ashamed of his government. Systematic, treacherous abuse has locked every man in a spiritual prison. Who understands the shame committed in Germany's name? It will stain our future long after our lifetime if we fail to condemn our government's heinous crime.
Have Germans abandoned free will? No one thinks for themselves. The mob is a shill.
For those who have recognized this threat, death is the reward they have met.
If everyone waits, it will seal our fates.
It's far too late for regret. Every individual, conscious of his responsibility as a member of Christian and Western civilization, must defend himself as best he can at this late hour. He must work against fascism and any similar system of totalitarianism. Gather your forces, make your resistance, active or passive, be of assistance. Wherever you make your part, to stop or delay the spread of this war machine.
We are all that stands in between our futures, our lives,
Our wives,
and the National Socialist regime. Signed, the White Rose.
what's that?
Just a touch of mystery. How many copies do we have?
1,000.
Enough to cover the university.
Are you ready to do this? Today?
Ready.
You must be very careful. Let's go.
The three shake hands. They each take a stack of leaflets and put them in their bags and exit. Hans lingers for a moment before walking out. Sophie is seen alone, making her journey to Munich. And back in the Scholl home, Robert and Magdalena hold each other.
Gather your forces, never to waver.
Gather your forces, never to waver.
Take the offensive, be ever braver.
Take the offensive, be ever braver.
To call God to your side. We call God to our side.
Hans, are you coming?
Coming.
Students around the university begin discovering the leaflets.
Quick, pick it up.
Don't let anyone see.
Should I deliver this to the police? Take it home with me.
Who would write such a thing? A book thinks he's a hero.
Who is the White Rose? Could it be someone I know? Who understands the shame committed in Germany's name? It will stain our future long after our lifetime if we fail to condemn our government's heinous crime. Gather your forces, make your resistance, active or passive, be of assistance. Wherever you make your part, to stop or delay the spread of this war machine. We are all that stands in between our futures, our lives, our children, our wives, and the National Socialist regime. It's working! People are picking them up!
I'll go back and get the rest. You wait here.
Who would write such a thing? A fool who thinks he's a hero. Who is the White Rose? Could it be someone I know?
Scene 4. Sophie arrives at Hans's apartment in Munich, while Hans and Christoph are still away, but Alexander is in the apartment, putting leaflets into a sack, when Sophie knocks at the door.
Hans, it's Sophie. I'm here.
Alexander takes off his jacket and uses it to cover the leaflets, and then opens the door.
Hello, can I help you?
Oh, you're not Hans. This is his apartment, isn't it?
That depends. Who's asking?
Oh, well, I'm his sister. He's expecting me.
A sister? I don't know. Hans never mentioned a sister.
You must be his smart Alec friend. Alexander, is it?
A sister and a trespasser.
So, where is he?
Who?
Hans.
Alexander, what's been taking you so long? We've been waiting.
Hans, look who's here.
Sophie, you're here. I didn't expect you so soon. From your letter, it seemed like it would be a while.
I was just released today, and I came here straight away. Well, first I stopped at home. It's been an interesting day. But I thought it would be okay for me to come here and stay. If not, I'll figure out another way.
Of course, please stay. I'm so glad you came today. Meet my friends. Christoph, Alexander, meet my sister Sophie.
It's so nice to meet you, Sophie. We've heard all about you.
Behold, the famous Sophie. May Munich live up to your expectations.
And today is Sophie's birthday! 21 years old!
We must celebrate.
Christoph and Alexander begin opening the wine and cake as Sophie and Hans huddle.
Hans, is everything all right? Did I come at a bad time?
Everything's fine. Great, in fact, now that you're here. I'm glad you've been my friends. You'll like them.
Christoph and Alexander return with glasses, and Alexander pours wine for the four of them.
A toast to my sister Sophie, ready to take on the world. Cheers! I remember my 21st birthday, 3 years ago. What a day that was. I was stationed in France on a cold winter night. I abandoned my patrol so that I could take a stroll in Paris, where I took in all the sights. Oh, to be 21, the age of adventure and fun. No longer a child, your life has begun. It doesn't get better than 21.
When I was 21, I lived the artist's life. I would be the next Van Gogh, meet Kandinsky and Miro. I spent every hour with my paints and palette knives.
A world-class artiste in our midst.
Hardly. Oh, to be 21. You believe any challenge can be won. No longer a child, your life has begun. It doesn't get better than 21.
There's nothing better than 21.
Possibilities,
bigger sights.
Of course things were different when we were 21.
Ancient wisdom from my elders from a time so long ago. 3 years can be a lifetime when there's so much that you know. And no need for grand adventures. I just want a simple life. I must enjoy my freedom, at least before becoming someone's wife.
It might not be so bad, you know. I became a father when I was 21. I don't have as many stories. These guys might think I'm boring, but nothing compares to being with my son.
Oh, to be 21, a year that should be full of fun. Times have changed with the freedom we once knew, but it's all downhill once you hit 22.
Now, if only we could live again without the curse of Hitler dominating everything about our lives. That's what strips us of our freedom.
Hans!
They're okay, Sophie. Here's to your newfound freedom.
To new passions to discover.
To the life you call your own.
Oh, to be 21. You believe any challenge can be won. No longer a child, your life has begun. It doesn't get better than,
doesn't get better than,
doesn't get better than 21.
Sophie, you must be tired. Let me show you to your room.
Hans shows Sophie to one of the bedrooms.
I'll take you to register at the university tomorrow. You can come with us to Professor Huber's class. You'll like it.
Okay, thank you. Hans, wait. I need to tell you something. Something happened at home today. The Gestapo came to the house to arrest Father. They mentioned you.
Is Father all right?
Oh, you know Father. Unshakable as always. He managed to delay them, but they said they would be back for him.
I'm sorry you were there to see that.
Hans, should I be worried about you? Father said that things would be better here, that you'd look after me. Not that I need that, of course. Are we safe?
Sweet Sophie. No one is safe. But, of all places, the odds are better here. We'll stay safe together. Get some rest.
Play, go to school, find a job, have a career. Play, make new friends, have nights filled with good cheer. Play, the music in me is a record that just wants to spin. I'm wound up and ready to go. It's time for my life to begin.
Hans rejoins Alexander and Kristoff in the main room.
We have to be even more careful now that Sophie is here. I don't want her to catch wind of anything. I wasn't expecting her to arrive today.
Family complicates things, doesn't it? Speaking of, I need to go home to mine. I'll let you students.
Kristoff exits. Hans sits down at his desk, head in his hands, and the lights change to scene 5, a classroom at the University of Munich where Professor Kurt Huber is delivering a lecture.
Yes. Today we continue our discussion of philosophy in the Age of Enlightenment. We credit Immanuel Kant with the idea that morality originates from human reason rather than from God-given decree. He posits that every individual has the ability to determine right and wrong. In fact, this is the birthright of humanity, to form our own opinions and think for ourselves, rather than submitting to dogmatic authority. The purpose of life is to write your own song, to use your judgment, don't just follow along. The conductor of our time tries his best to divide. Will your existence add harmony or discord? What will you decide? Nietzsche says God is dead. They've released our own conception of him. I want to know what you think. Is there still room for God in our understanding of the world?
Hans, Alexander, and Sophie slip into the classroom.
Late! Stay after all three of you so I can mark your attendance record accordingly. You, what do you think?
We are better off without God. No more divine right means no more kings. We are no longer oppressed by the monarchy.
That is true. The kings of Europe are dead and gone. Are we better without them? Is this the new dawn? Our new king, this God, rules with a heavy hand. Is it better than before? Are you proud to join the band?
Can you say that?
He does.
Furthermore, quote Spinoza, the greatest secret of monarchic rule is to keep men deceived and clothed in the specious name of religion, the fear by which they must be checked so that they will fight for slavery as they would for salvation. And remember that religion can take many forms. But careful in considering these words. Spinoza was a Jew, after all. And don't let yourself be contaminated.
I can't believe it. He actually quoted a Jewish philosopher in class? That's unheard of. I love school.
Don't get too excited. Huber is an anomaly. All the other professors are party puppets.
Quiet! I have a class full of chatterboxes today. You there. Tell me what you think. Is there a place for God in this world after Nietzsche's pronouncement that God is dead?
Well, we live in a world where many bad things happen. Very bad things. And those bad things are caused by us, by people.
Go on.
But, on the other hand, there are very many good things, too. Things that so exceed in goodness what man is capable of. Like the beauty of nature in the summertime. Nature as it is, completely untouched. And then there are other things that are wonderful, too. Created by people. Like music, like great books and art, ideas. The human mind and creativity. Any human act of creation is godlike. He did it best, and the world is evidence of that. And people, at their best, follow in that path. But if all that good demonstrates his existence, how do you explain the bad? Why would bad things happen if God were watching over?
Very good. What is your name?
Sophie Scholl, sir. I'm a new student.
Well, welcome, Miss Scholl. Very good. You've raised the issue of theosophy, which explores the question of how evil exists in a world created by a benevolent and all-knowing God. This concept was introduced by philosopher and mathematician Gottfried Wilhelm von Leibniz, and has continually been debated for the centuries.
So you're saying that the question is well established, but there is no answer? I guess that's what you get in a philosophy class.
Precisely. What matters most is the question and forming your own answer, thinking for yourself. But as I am knee-deep in research for my forthcoming book, a biography of Leibniz, I shall share with you his explanation. In God's perfect world, evil is a man-made flaw, like a wrong note in a symphony that would otherwise fill us with awe. The conductor of our time puts on pressure to abide. Will your life be a wrong note? What will you decide?
Suddenly, 3 Nazi officials burst into the classroom.
Enough! Enough! Class is over! Now it's time for some real education. You're done preaching your usual dribble for today. You better get out of here.
What's happening?
This happens regularly. Nazi official barges into class to spew propaganda at us.
My class is not over yet. I teach until 1/2 the
You've
hour.
had more than enough time today. You're lucky we let a cripple like you stand up here and soften the brains of the next generation, especially after your episode in Berlin. Students, would you believe it? Your dear Professor Huber was fired from his previous position. Fired for being uncooperative. The chair of the prestigious Folk Music Institute. Uncooperative, can you imagine that? What a shame. And once again, here you are being, dare I say, uncooperative. Am I sensing a pattern?
He is so rude.
I'm going. Everyone, class dismissed.
No, nobody else is leaving the room. I have an important message from the Führer himself. Our glorious leader expresses his concern at the large number of female students at the university. Current university policy allows a quota of up to 10%, but we never intended to reach that level. The government is exploring the possibility of reducing the quota to a more appropriate level. Ladies, you must understand, our nation is at war. Expanding our population is of the utmost importance. In fact, that is your primary responsibility. Every moment you sit in class, you are failing in your duty to populate our nation with perfect specimens of the Aryan race. That is your entire purpose. Far more important than reading books. And to help you, I offer my soldiers perfect genetic material to assist you in your duties. I've even brought you here with me today.
The students react with fury and begin shouting, holding leaflets high up in the air.
Gather your forces, make your resistance. Active or passive, be of assistance.
The students leave the auditorium in a rampage as the Gestapo try to hold them back. The scene is chaotic. Sophie gets separated from Hans and Alexander. She picks a leaflet up off the floor, reads it, puts it in her pocket, and exits.
Well, that speech was a new low.
Yes, but can you believe it? Everyone has seen the leaflet.
Including Professor Huber.
Let's go. We should update Christoph.
Are we forgetting someone?
Oh, Sophie, you're right. Where is she? I hope she isn't too upset. Oh well, we'll see her later.
Scene 6. Sophie returns to Hans's apartment by herself.
Hans, are you here? I have to show you something.
You wouldn't have believed it, Christoph. Everyone was chanting those words that I wrote.
He sees Sophie standing at the desk and motions to his friends to leave. They exit.
Sophie, you're here.
Sophie holds up a leaflet.
You wrote this? Hans, what is this?
What?
I know what you're doing.
What?
I know you wrote those leaflets. You admitted it just now.
Sophie?
How could you be so selfish? I know you know the risks. After You put us all in danger. Don't you care about your life? What about me? Mother, father, your friends?
I know what I'm doing. I've thought all this through before. I know the risk I'm taking. Don't forget, we are all at war. Can one man make a difference? We doubt, we question, but history proves it's true. Yes, one man can change the world. So why him? Why not me? Why not you?
Well, I'm not the man.
You know what I mean? Defining moments throughout the ages arise from one man's choice. History will be written. Why not claim a few pages? To do that, I must use my voice.
You're serious about this?
I'm one man. I must make a difference. Who am I to stand by and ignore? The course of history can be changed in a moment by the builders and the explorers, the fighters and the writers. Their goals may be different, to create or to destroy. Galileo, Napoleon, Beethoven, Hitler. If he can, so can I. If he can, so will I.
But you don't have to do this. You are making a difference just by being a good person. You're studying to be a doctor. Why would you risk everything?
I was born for a reason. I've searched for it all my life. Now I found it. Now is the season to make my mark. No matter the cost, no matter the strife.
No matter the cost.
This path, it isn't easy. It's lonely and dangerous, but I have made my choice. It's my only chance at a different sort of world. Forget what you saw. Go and live your life, but don't try to stop me. I've made up my mind.
You speak as if the future of Germany rests on your shoulders.
And what if it does? I will make this my moment. If he can, so can I. If he can. If he can, so will I.
Hans sits down at his desk and gets back to work, ignoring Sophie. She stares at him for a long silence.
I can't believe this. My brother is crazy. He's out of his mind, or is he truly brave? Could this possibly work? It just seems berserk. Oh my God, how should I behave? I'm so angry, I know it seems selfish. I came here to study, to develop myself. He's disrupting my plan, thinking he's some great man, but my dreams collect dust on a shelf. What do? I don't think I can stop him. Do I pretend to forget what I know? The only solution that I can think of is to help him with this crazy scheme. The truth is, I share his dream. I know that he's right, and I know I can help. I have to.
Sophie approaches Hans.
I will join you.
What? No.
You could use my help.
No. One man can make a difference. One man, that's me. I don't need you. This wasn't an invitation. I didn't want you to know. We're not having this conversation. Maybe you should go.
Hans, I can help. I won't get in your way. Why do it alone for even one more day?
I'm not doing this alone.
Alexander and Christoph. Hans, you need to be more careful. It wasn't hard to figure this out.
Sophie begins reading the leaflet aloud.
Gather your forces, make your resistance, active or passive, be of assistance. Wherever you may do your part to stop or delay. You say that all should do their part, so why do you push me away? Let me be your secret weapon. I promise I won't get in your way.
That's a promise? Shake on it. Well, we were supposed to meet now. I should go find Christoph and Alexander.
He opens the door and finds them standing right there as if they've been listening.
Oh, hello, Hans. Some good family bonding time?
Okay, let's get started. And Sophie will be joining our meeting, really just to observe, though. Well, my friends, we did it! 1,000 copies spread all over the university. The reaction was incredible. Our message clearly spoke to the students. So now, we plan our next leaflet.
Sophie, now that you've joined the party, let's hear what you think of all this.
Actually, I have some ideas, if you don't mind.
No, it's probably best if...
Let's hear your ideas, Sophie. Come closer, pull up a chair.
Well, first, on the leaflet itself. Without a doubt, the message was powerful, but you might consider perhaps something not quite so intellectual. Suitable for a university, perhaps, but if you want to reach more people, I'm not sure it's the right approach.
We're not about to infantilize our readers. We have to rise above cheap slogans and propaganda.
She has a point. More direct speech, to the heart and not just to the mind.
And we should talk about how to grow in reach while maintaining a discreet operation. Speaking of, where is everyone else?
It's just the three of us.
Well, you mean the four of us now, of course. But really? That's it? We need more people.
Small is better, and you're only slightly involved, remember?
Hans, why do you insist on censoring her? Sophie has a lot to offer. Maybe she's the real brains of the family.
Sophie, remember what you promised.
I'm just trying to help and look out for everyone. And on that note, Christoph, you shouldn't be here. You need to leave.
What? Sophie!
Hans, he has a family. He's a father. He has a wife and young children. He should not be a part of this.
That's not for you to decide. He's made his choice. Christoph knows what we're up to, and you have no idea what he's done for us. We couldn't have gotten this far without him. We're not about to kick him out.
He's done his part. We should avoid unnecessary risk to loved ones. It's fine for those of us who are unattached, but Christoph made other choices in life. Just imagine what could happen.
She makes a good point, Christoph. Your family is everything.
It's late. I need to go home anyways. I'll see you around.
Christoph gets up and makes his goodbyes and exits. Hans follows Christoph out.
Christoph, wait!
I'm an only child, so these sibling dynamics are fascinating to me. Do you want to have a family one day?
What? Why is that everyone thinks all I could possibly be good for is having a family? I want more than that. I'm capable of more than that. Even so, family is not something you just put at risk like that. Why can't Hans see that? He doesn't think twice about endangering me or our family, apparently.
Well, love, family, those require risk too. And sacrifice.
What do you mean?
Well, let me tell you about my family. Long ago in my homeland we met. 'Twas a night they would never forget. He saw her there, her long dark hair, a smile without a care. A German on a cold Russian night. The sun was gone, but she filled the room with light. He knew right then, he said, marry me. She said, when? They knew this moment might never come again.
He knew she was the one right there and then?
They both knew.
How? What happened?
And they made a life. They had a child and all was well. My father loved his Russian wife and all could tell. But when she died, he was alone with only me, a child of 3. So he went home. He moved us here, just us 2 men, knowing we would never see her light again.
I'm so sorry.
Loving well means there's something to lose. If he could do it over, I know what he'd choose. You can't choose your fate, but you can only choose to leave or wait and risk that you might be too late. What funny times these are. Things can change in an instant. So will you put your life on hold?
The lights shift to outside where Hans has caught up with Christoph.
Christoph? Christoph, wait! We need you. We're not doing this without you. You want this. You said so from the start.
Hans, there's more to life than this. I'll see you another day.
Wait!
Hans, let me go home and kiss my wife. We have another baby on the way, you know.
We're working hard to make a difference. You're saying you don't want to make a difference? Do it for your children. Do it for your wife. Don't you want to see a world that gives everyone a better life?
Germany is in good hands with you, Hans. But I'm the only father my children will have. I'm sure one day you'll understand. Maybe not. Your sister is very wise. You should listen to her. Good night, Hans.
Scene 7. Hans, Sophie, and Alexander gather to print leaflets. Hans is writing furiously at his desk while Sophie and Alexander pace around.
Okay, it's ready.
Well, let's hear it.
The crimes of this regime are too numerous to count, but here we list just a few. Since the conquest of Poland, 300,000 Jews have been murdered in gas chambers, a crime unparalleled in history. The Polish aristocracy has been annihilated, destroyed. Young men sent to concentration camps, then women sent to Nazi brothels in Norway. Tell me you don't care. Don't you hear the chords shrieking in your heart? If you sleep soundly, will you ever awaken? Guilty, guilty, guilty. We are your guilty conscience, the white rose. Will not leave you in peace. Well, what do you think?
I'll take it to the printing press.
Gather your forces, make your resistance.
Alexander comes back with a bag full of leaflets. The three of them divide them up into bags and go their separate ways.
Remember, make sure you're not being followed. Be careful.
Active or passive, be of assistance. There's a passage of time as they distribute the flyers and then come back to Hans's apartment.
We need a new strategy. It's too dangerous to leave these about. There are more Gestapo around now. I have an idea. Let's do our next campaign by post. We'll take trains to different cities and mail hundreds of leaflets from each destination to local addresses. This way, we will distribute 10 times more leaflets and reach far beyond Munich, and will be harder to trace.
Our current method seems to be working fine.
It's a terrific idea, Sophie. I know that Hans agrees. Let's do it.
There's another passage of time.
Gather your forces, make resistance, active or passive, be of assistance.
Alexander comes back with another bag full of leaflets and they begin reading.
Sabotage.
In factories and war industries.
Sabotage.
Rallies and grand public gatherings.
Sabotage.
Newspapers on government payroll.
And never donate to the War Relief Fund. Why?
Because charity is camouflage, lining the pockets of Nazi henchmen.
Gather your forces, make your resistance, active or passive, be of assistance.
Hans, listen. Your writing, it's good, but
What?
it's still a bit lofty. You know who would be a perfect writer for this? Professor Huber. He speaks so eloquently and clearly.
No, we can't approach him. Too risky.
Yes, we can. Let's do it today, after class.
There's another passage of time and we see Sophie and Hans in Huber's classroom.
Well, that's all for today, class. Don't forget your analysis of Kant's Critique of Pure Reason is due next week.
As the class clears out, Sophie approaches Professor Huber.
Thank you for class today, Professor.
Do you have a question?
Yes.
She places a leaflet on his desk.
Have you seen this?
I may have.
We'd like you to write the next one.
You're behind this? Both of you? Why would you even trust me with this information? How do you know I wouldn't turn you in? I would only gain from it. By joining you, I'd only stand to lose.
We made our decision. Not just to think for ourselves, but to do something. Just as you suggested.
My classes are about philosophy. That is all.
You haven't been to war. You haven't seen what happens on the front lines as our great nation destroys everything in its path.
No. And maybe one day you enlighten me, but do not speak to me of this again. I don't want to know. In these times, noble ideas are best reserved for the mind, unless you speak a speedy end to your career, or even life as you know it. I must get back to my research.
See? Told you. This was a mistake. Remember what you promised? To not get in the way. You are getting in the way, Sophie.
There's another passage of time.
Do not believe the news. Question any talk of victory. Whether in Africa or Russia, success comes at the sacrifice of thousands who fall in battle each day. Has Hitler counted the dead? No. Every word from his mouth is a lie. He proclaims peace, but he only means war. Do your part to stop him. Ask God for the courage and strength to fight. We are the White Rose. We are no pawn of foreign power. We seek our country's spiritual rebirth. We will not keep silent. We are your guilty conscience. We are the White Rose. We will not leave you in peace.
More time passes. Hans and Alexander re-enter, each carrying a letter.
Did you read it yet? Our entire medical class has been drafted to the Eastern Front for the remainder of the year. We report for duty tomorrow.
I swore I wouldn't return to Russia like this, but I have no choice. I dread to think about what we will find on the front.
At least you'll be there to treat the wounded and save lives. I've been called back to the munitions factory for the rest of the year, where I'll be forced to make the bullets that kill innocent people.
The White Rose is officially on hiatus. We will regroup when we return.
Sophie, everything may be different when we return, for better or for worse.
He pulls a white rose out of his pocket.
But this is for you, to remember this moment.
He kisses her on the cheek.
Hans, I'll meet you at the pickup point tomorrow. Goodbye, Sophie.
Scene 8. Some time has passed. Sophie is in the factory and Hans and Alexander are at the Eastern Front, thinking of each other. we see Magdalena Scholl at center stage writing a letter.
My dear children, it has happened. Your father was arrested last night. The length of his sentence is not known. Please pray for him as we pray for you both. Sending my love.
For 45 days I've been waiting. No letters, no meetings, there's nothing to do. For 45 days it's been awfully quiet. I'm trying not to think of you. Be careful, I pray for your safety. Come back and walk through that door, but not yet. Right now I'm not ready to do what we did before.
It's day 45 of our mission.
And almost 3 years since the war began. There's death and destruction, much worse than I realized.
So now we're starting to plan. I won't stand to witness these crimes. Next time I'm not holding back.
Now my anger is growing, ready and stronger for the next phase of attack.
Father's in prison, the war just won't end.
Now more than ever I need a friend. He's there on the front.
Sophie's back in the factory.
I can't handle it all.
We must fight or we'll fall.
I'm counting the days while
I'm counting the days till I'm back to work. We'll be together and writing again. We'll make a difference at last.
time doesn't pass too fast.
There's so much I wish I could tell you, but so few words I can write. I know what you'd say in this moment.
Life is an adventure towards the
We must write to Professor Hubert. He needs to understand. Sophie was right. He could really help us.
He'll never understand. No one can possibly understand without seeing it
We
firsthand.
must try. If we can convince him, maybe he'll help us. Here, I've written this letter to him. See what you think.
Dear Professor, we have just arrived at a small war-torn town east of Vyazma. We have seen many things, in particular Warsaw, the ghetto, the city. Everything about it made a profound impression on all of us. It's impossible to give even a vague picture of what has assailed me in Russia since the day we crossed the frontier. I don't know where to begin. Russia is so vast. War sweeps across the countryside like a rainstorm. The Russians are attacking in strength north and south of here, but it's uncertain how things will turn out. Well, it's accurate and vague.
I don't think I can safely say more. You'll have to read between the lines.
Scene 9. Sophie greets Hans and Alexander at the train station as they return home from the front.
You're back! Finally!
Sophie! How are you holding up?
Oh, I'm alright. Alexander, how are you?
It's been a long day. I'm gonna head home.
So, how bad was it? It's hard to tell from your letters, and we don't hear anything.
Worse than you could possibly imagine. Especially for him. Did you hear?
Hans, what is it? What happened?
Germany surrenders at Stalingrad.
Oh my goodness.
What does this mean?
Soldiers starved, frozen. We never lost before. My brother, my husband, my son. Where did they go? Why aren't more soldiers coming back? We never lose. Did you hear? We do not lose.
They say that 200,000 soldiers were trapped in the city, starved, dying, no supplies, forced to fight until the last man, all because Hitler refused to surrender.
Did the ground just shake? Did the earth just quake? No bombs in the air, but I feel like a bomb exploded inside of me. I can't feel, I can't breathe. Is this real? It's too hard to believe. We promised we would win. We always win. We only win. It suddenly feels so cold. What was all this for if we lose? Should we still fight until it's over? Until there are no more Jews? I can't go on living with this news.
Look how lucky you are to have made it back.
God is on our side. We are here for a reason. This is our turning point. We can't waste a moment. This is our turning point. Our moment to make our greatest stand. The people are weakened, their faith is shaking, they are losing trust in his command. Come on, Alexander, pull yourself together. Sophie, we need you. With God on our side, maybe we won't need to do this much longer. We may be nearing the end. Let's get to work.
Scene 13, Professor Huber sits at a desk in his home study.
I've read the letter every day, over and over. War sweeps across the country like a rainstorm. And now, glimmer of light. Stalingrad. The end could be near, but what a cost. The waste. I can't. I won't. I know where this path leads. What does right even mean when you are punished for noble deeds?
There's a knock at the door.
Yes.
Father, dinner is ready. Mother said to come get you.
Go on ahead. I'll be there in a moment, my darling. In God's perfect world, evil is a man-made flaw, like a wrong note in a symphony that would otherwise fill us with awe. The conductor of our time puts on pressure to revive. Will your life be a wrong note? What will you decide? What will I decide?
Professor Huber begins pacing his office. Ultimately, he begins writing a leaflet.
Attention, German students. Our nation stands shaken by the deaths of the heroes of Stalingrad. Hundreds of thousands of men driven to death and destruction. Führer, we thank you.
He writes furiously, then gets up and leaves in a hurry. He knocks on the door to Hans's apartment, which Sophie answers. He hands her the paper and then leaves. She hands the paper to Hans as Alexander looks on. In silence, they prepare, typing up the leaflet. Hans and Alexander exiting and coming back with printed copies. We see numerous other people come in to collect them as the chorus sings the contents. Sophie gesticulates, giving instructions to the volunteers of where they will go and how they will discreetly do the drop.
In the name of all German youth, we demand that Hitler's government return to us our personal freedom. Our whole lives we've seen every open expression of opinion attacked, denigrated, and punished. Nazi party officials distract us from every disciplined course of study. They insult the honor of female students. They waste our time, and worse, they aim to conform, manipulate, and anesthetize us. Fight against the party. Our education requires it. We demand true freedom of thought. Students, Germany looks to us. The dead of Stalingrad beseech us. Courage, my people, the beacons are burning. Our nation is awakening against the enslavement of Europe by National Socialism.
The sun is rising and I'm going to sleep now. 10,000 copies. Congratulations, my friends. You've done something.
Hans, we still have some left. We should deliver them to the university. Just you and me.
It's too risky, Sophie.
He wrote it to the students. He wrote it for them. We need to share it.
Christoph knocks at the door. Hans answers and Christoph motions for him to come out. He doesn't want to be seen by Sophie. He hands him a piece of paper to Hans.
What is this?
It's our next leaflet.
Christoph, I thought we agreed you'd be staying out of this.
I tried it and I can't anymore. Just take it. I'm sorry it's handwritten. I hope you can read it. I didn't have time to type it up. I wanted to give it to you before I changed my mind.
Roosevelt? The most powerful man in the world. Well, that's not going to go over well here. It's a bold move, Christoph.
You know it's all true. We are so close, Hans. After Stalingrad, people are restless. They're questioning. This could be all over soon. It's help out alone.
Agreed. You better go now.
They shake hands and Christoph exits as Sophie comes out with the leaflets.
Who is that?
No one.
Hans and Sophie walk together, distributing leaflets around the university, careful to avoid detection.
It's actually nice to spend time together like this. It reminds me of our childhood.
That's right. We were rabble-rousers even then, once we figured out what the Hitler Youth was really about.
Remember when you made that banner for the big parade? You led the way, you were the planner, the most inventive banner ever made. They tore it down as too unique. They said that boy Hans has no right to speak. You should now. You've said what's true. You've always known just how it is. This was always you.
Remember when you brought your favorite books to the youth group town hall? Forbidden works that earned you nasty looks, and you didn't care at all. They took your books, burned them there and then. They told you not to show your face again, and now you're here to lead the coup. You've never shown an ounce of fear. This was always you. Those days we shared, I won't forget. We weren't scared. There's no regret. Those moments made us who we are. They made us close.
There were times you feel so far away, like you're keeping your whole life at bay. Do you want it to be this way?
Those were the days we did what we could do on the world's smallest stage. And now we're here. We were together in the history books. We'll share a page. The story of a sister and a brother,
So different, just like the other.
working together, one adventure.
That brings this world of darkness into light.
After what has seemed an endless night, then we move on to life beyond the war. We'll do all the normal things.
We won't forget how we fought for more. The unstoppable show siblings.
The future will be bright if we do what's right until this awful time is through. I'm so grateful you are by my side. This was always you.
In a burst of joy, Sophie throws the stack of leaflets high up into the air as she and Hans laugh together. Suddenly, a figure appears in a shadow, catching Sophie and Hans in the act of distributing the leaflets.
You there! Stop! Catch them!
Gestapo officers run as Sophie and Hans stand frozen in place. Scene 11, a courtroom.
All rise for the Honorable Judge Freisler, President of the People's Court.
Order in the courtroom. Order. Bring in our defendants accused of crimes of high treason.
Hans, in handcuffs, is dragged in by guards.
Hans Scholl, discovered distributing treasonous materials at the University of Munich on February 18, 1943.
Sophie, in handcuffs, is dragged in by guards.
Sophia Scholl, discovered distributing treasonous materials at the University of Munich on February 18, 1943, alongside her brother, Hans Scholl. These traitors were found by university custodian and loyal party member Herr Jakob Schmidt. He will be generously commended for his service, as you will all be glad to know. And on to our third defendant for today's proceedings.
Who could it be? They couldn't know about...
Silence, traitors! Our third defendant, Christoph Probst.
Christoph is dragged in handcuffs, looking pale and sick. He joins them on the stand.
No! He had nothing to do with it!
Silence! Handwriting analysis determined that Christoph Probst is the author of a highly treasonous document found on the person of Hans Scholl, presumably the next disgusting leaflet that these traitors would be distributing if they hadn't been stopped. Mr. Hans Scholl is really the consummate traitor to the state. He attempted to eat the paper written by Probst during his arrest, destroying evidence before the very eyes of our hardworking Gestapo officers. Rest assured, we see that he gets his due punishment.
Robert Scholl enters the courtroom.
I gather you are the father of these two odious pests. Take your seat and learn of the grave misdeeds of your spawn. The Führer himself sent me here to punish you ungrateful traitors. All of his good works, brilliant efforts to lift Germany to glory, and what do? You undermine and insult our great nation. Disgraceful! How do you plead?
Guilty.
Even you, an innocent young girl misled and deceived by her criminal brother, have you no remorse that might reduce your sentence?
I stand by what we did. Someone had to make a start. You know as well as we do that the war is lost. Why are you so cowardly that you won't admit it?
There is an uproar in the courtroom.
Silence! I've made my verdict. I shall pass judgment now so that our nation need not endure the stench of your treason a moment longer. Unless there are any objections, the crime, treason of the highest order, weakening of the nation's armed security, and providing treasonous assistance to the enemy. The verdict? Guilty. The sentence? Death. The method? Guillotine.
Please, Your Honor, I ask for clemency. I have 3 small children.
They are better off without a father like you. Traitor scum. The sentence will be carried out at dawn tomorrow. Court dismissed.
Scene 12. The stage is divided into thirds with dim lighting, with each section representing a prison cell for Hans, Christoph, and Sophie. Hans is pacing. Christoph sits with his head in his hands. Sophie seems to be asleep. Robert is also present somewhere as he thinks about his children.
Little girl, like to read, like to play, little boy, so many words to say. I feel you sitting in the other room, curled up in a chair in my mind. It's as if you never know. I feel you still right there.
One man can make a difference. It's not over, not until the end. One man can change the world, but what's it worth if it costs the life of his sister and his friend? I tried, I failed, but I won't concede that he's won. Our battle may be ending, but I pray to God that our impact isn't done.
Little girl, went to school, went to learn, little boy. I always knew that you'd return to build a life, to build a home. And I'm not waiting with another. Mother and I were all alone. should just go home and misbehave.
Timorous shame, cowardly thoughts, they will not help you. They trap you, you'll see. They do not make you.
Little girl, little boy, oh God, did I really teach you wrong? You are too young, and I'm not strong, and I just want to hear you singing all your favorite song.
Hans finds a sharp object on the floor and has an idea and begins carving the words of the poem into the wall.
Gather your forces, never to waver. Give me my life for leaving you all alone. Take the offensive, be ever braver. Beautiful children, we barely just met. Forget how I loved you. You are perfect in my eyes. To call God to your side. Sorry to leave you, I did this for you in a way. I couldn't help it, I had to. I hope you understand someday. We call God to our side.
Lights down on Hans, Christoph, and Robert. Lights up on Sophie and herself.
What a strange dream. I dreamed I carried a child of a mountain. Her dress is white. The snow on the ground so bright. She smiles up at me as I hold her and climb up the mountain. The sky reflected in her eyes. What a promise and surprise. I sing for you, child of the mountain. We stay on our journey, though hard it may be. I'll carry you safely, my child of the mountain. I'll sing for you. It's what I was meant to do. My arms feel heavy as I carry the child up the mountain. The snow is sheer and the path not so clear, though my legs shake. They won't stop me from reaching the top of the mountain. The wind is sharp. It strikes like a cord on a harp. I'll fight for you, child of the mountain. I'll stay on the path through wind and through hail. I'll never give up, my child of the mountain. I'll fight for you. That's what I promised to do. I reach the top and see the plains look by. The valley gets wider, so I stretch and leave you safe. On the other side, you go live on, fulfill your destiny. The world needs you more than it needs me. That child is our idea, we carried her up to the mountain. I'm proud of us all, and my spirits will fall. We did our part, and we're saying goodbye to the mountain. The right rose lives on.
live for us, child of the mountain. We had an adventure, but now it must end. You live on so strong, our child of the mountain. We live for you. We did what we had to.
Scene 13, a courtyard at the prison. Hans, Sophie, and Christoph are brought out, and they embrace. They go over to where Robert and Magdalena are standing on the other side of a fence. The executioner stands at the back of the stage, near the guillotine.
Mother! Father!
Father, Mother, I'm so sorry.
I love you, my children. You are very brave. I love you so much.
God be with you, my children.
Christoph, is there anyone here for you?
No. My wife, she just had a baby. Our third child. She's still in the hospital. She doesn't know I'm here.
Your children will learn about you and feel very good.
Attention! Attention! The executioner will now read the sentences.
Sophie, Hans, and Christoph hold hands as the sentence is read.
Today, this February 22nd, 1943, in the name of the German people in the action against 1. Hans Fritz Scholl, born at Ingersheim, September 22nd, 1918. 2. Sophia Magdalena Scholl, born at Forchtenberg, May 9th, 1921. And 3. Christoph Hermann Probst, born at Murnau, November 6, 1919. Now in investigative custody regarding treasonous assistance to the enemy, preparing to commit high treason and weakening of the nation's armed security. President of the People's Court, Dr. Roland Freisler, presiding, finds that the accused have in time of war, by means of leaflets, called for the sabotage of the war effort and for the overthrow of the National Socialist way of life of our people, have propagated defeatist ideas, and have most vulgarly defamed the Führer, thereby giving aid to the enemy of the Reich and weakening the armed security of the nation. On this account, they are to be punished by death. Their honor and rights as citizens are forfeited for all time.
We shall see each other again in a few minutes.
Well, get on with it.
Sophie turns and walks toward the executioner. She disappears into the darkness as the blade falls. Cowardly thoughts, cowardly thoughts. Christoph salutes to Hans, and then he disappears into the darkness as the blade falls. Cowardly thoughts define our nation. Hans embraces his parents one last time and begins his walk to the darkness.
Long live freedom!
Hans disappears into the darkness as the blade falls. Cowardly thoughts, cowardly thoughts. For those who have recognized this threat, death is the reward they have met. If everyone waits, it will seal our fates. It's far too late for regret. Time passes and we see Alexander and Professor Huber dragged into the courtroom with a pantomime of the trial with Judge Friesler. We see them in their cells briefly, Alexander pacing and Professor Huber furiously writing and reading his books. Then we see them dragged out to the courtyard.
Attention, attention, the executioner will now read the sentences.
Today, this April 19th, 1943, in the name of the German people in the action against 1. Alexander Schmorell, Munich, born on September 16, 1917 in Orenburg, Russia. 2. Kurt Huber, Munich, born October 24, 1893 in Chur, Switzerland. That Alexander Schmorell and Kurt Huber in time of war have promulgated leaflets calling for sabotage of the war effort and for the overthrow of the National Socialist way of life of our people, have propagated defeatist ideas, and have most vulgarly defamed the Führer, thereby giving aid to the enemy of the right and weakening the armed security of the nation. On this account, they are to be punished by death. Their honor and rights as citizens are forfeited for all time.
Cowardly thoughts. Alexander walks toward the executioner. He disappears into the darkness as the blade falls. Professor Huber walks towards the executioner. He disappears into the darkness as the blade falls. Scene 14, the Shull home outside.
Robert, did you see the newspaper?
No, my dear. What did it say?
Hans and Sophie, they had other friends who had helped them. Alexander Schmor.
Oh, the Russian boy. I met him once. Nice young man.
And a professor, Huber. Did Hans ever mention?
I don't remember where he asked.
They were caught and executed just yesterday.
Little girl, little boy, oh boy, did I really teach you wrong? You are too young, and I'm not strong, and I just want to hear you sing all your favorite songs. These days are over. I just don't believe it's true. They come for everyone. They came for me, but they weren't supposed to come for you. There is no future if your children won't be there. I told you to listen, to pay attention. I'm sorry I was so unfair to raise you here and now. Oh God, how can I go on without my children who did nothing wrong? Except for doing what I taught American planes, they're dropping leaflets everywhere. Allied forces bring you a message from our brave friends in Germany. Gather your forces, never to waver. Gather your forces, never to waver. Take the offensive, we are the braver.
The end. to write down some of your notes, and if anybody does want to hang around in another 5 or 10 minutes after you've all fawned all over Jennifer, if you want to come back in and speak some of your thoughts to her, that's fine too. So. I can let her know. I'll get it to Jennifer. Great job. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's fun.
We'll get more of you.
Yeah, I know. Next week.
Right.
You were giving me so much. It's like, oh, I know, right back at you.
Oh, I've seen you in so many different roles now. It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Isabel's story. Yeah, I'm a writer. Yeah, I can't. You know, I think first time I saw you was in the Manson musical, and I've seen you in a couple of readings since then. And I think that guy's like, you know,
I'm all over the
place. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I'm working with Elise. I'm writing. You know, I'm in an earlier stage of writing musical now. So I have readings until December. So I'm kind of looking to see, like, okay, this is how it happens. You know, this is what's ahead. So
yeah, this is such a
it is. Yeah.
About a year and a half ago.
Oh, what you use?
Yeah, and I'm now in the administrative assistant, so I get to help in like the support side as well.
Oh, I didn't realize it was you. I saw an announcement about there was a new staff.
Yes.
That's you. Hello, staff.
Hello.
Thank you for everything you're doing.
Yeah.
Obviously,
yeah, and it's good to be around it because you get to editing process of in the theory behind developing a musical, and that's invaluable.
It is, yeah.
Wonderful.
Congratulations. I'm going to stay for the reading. I mean, I'm for the talk.
Great work.
No commission, no commission.
Second term.
Wow. Yeah, right.
All good?
Oh, wait, we're going to be running this.
So say don't turn it off.
So I will have a full script for you. And I talked to there, and I know you kind of, and I I'm so proud that I finally finished the script. So, yeah, it was a long time. I am. And formal, and we're getting through the time, yeah, but I also work in so I
It's 10 days. The first novel of the way better than the reimagining that you know power.
There were classes at like school at USC. It was cool. It was like, you know, music law class. Yeah, but I and Victor's yeah, I think, yeah, it's like funny, when I did that one time, I wasn't even ready to by myself. I don't know, I just didn't figure out the way school, just trying to so to
I swear we got this. You know, okay. Yeah, because it was I was 5 minutes crazy.
Sorry, yeah. And do you think like if we only had
I just found that so sad. Well, I found that out because I asked her to go. Oh, she's not going to and I do musical she can send me the video. She's talented. That girl is you go ahead if you can stay around. I'm going to start to work my way out. You'll probably beat me.
they're all just question marks. So this was definitely like helpful. I feel like some of the pressure. Yes.
I just didn't have your reference. Feel that. No, it's good. We're going
Thank you, Andrea. Thanks for jumping here. Pardon me?
my script started like kind of overwhelming and like kind of. Dude, and I feel like so at least
like undergraduate
I would feel like oh I see
as a classical singer, but I was a
like,
pianist, so my work study was I accompanied the bass team. So the bassist I
so hopefully
they went in the world's like like one of them is the head bassist for the
Yeah, it seems like there aren't that many
orchestra anymore, which is the famous orchestra. And then
and also I feel like
famous jazz bassist.
I feel like
Peter and from Vienna. Yeah, he should
meet a random
yeah, he's doing jazz.
Yeah.
He's
random
Oh yeah, definitely. That's amazing.
I know, I'm like, dude, like you stole all my musicals. No wonder I can't play instruments for shit.
Well, he can play on your own.
He's my little brother.
yeah, the more
He's taller than
once,
you
and
now.
then also I do feel like when you
My brother, like,
music,
Okay, if you're in your head, talk back.
and I stand next to him.
Thanks for coming.
Like, I remember throwing her out of the diaper.
Nice to meet you.
So I think, you know, we can ask you, Jennifer, what things you want to know, but otherwise, I think maybe a good place to start is what did you feel the show was about and how did it leave you? How did it make you feel? Jump in.
I don't know, I just wrote doing the right thing in difficult times.
And as you're thinking about that, you can also think about if there were any parts of it that were at all confusing or that left you with questions or that you wanted more of or less of. Those kinds of thoughts.
I just had one, it was really a minor question, considering the scope of all this and all the good things going for it. The only little thing, I kept wondering how they had the money to print all these leaflets and mail them out. If they're just poor students, just because I have to deal with stuff like that in real life, and it's an issue.
Well,
like you have to raise money or borrow money.
They weren't truly poor students, were they?
Yeah.
Students, but they came from.
Yeah.
But that's an important point.
And then when they bought, they said we're going to mail all these letters, and like that would be a lot of postage. So maybe just some measure of how they get their money. It could even be just one line or something. Some idea of like how do they get their money. But that was really a minor flip.
Easy fix too. Those are good ones when you know you can fix them.
Yeah.
Any other things that were confusing or that you wondered about or you wanted more of? And how about what music you were hearing and the balance of it? I know not all the songs were done, but how was the music coming across to you?
I really liked the music. I thought the opening with the H's going into Heil Hitler, that really struck me. Fantastic opening. And then the song about when they were in prison and she's singing about the mountains, that was really beautiful. But I had trouble remembering some of the songs because maybe the soprano line was so high, or because I wasn't hearing a repeating melody. So I'd have to probably listen to it again to remember which songs are which. But I do remember those two very clearly.
I just liked the music overall. I felt there was a variety to it. So, you know, there was some kind of militaristic and some uplifting, some sad. There was a little humor. There was solos. You know, I especially liked the brother and sister near the beginning. There was something going on with them. So I liked the variety of it. I thought the music was really well done. And some of the refrains that came back throughout, you know, at different parts, at different meanings, especially, you know, the main phrase that was in the leaflet and certain things like that gave it more of a sense beyond these characters, but like the whole society around them, it really gave a sense of that. So,
I was a little bit confused about the origin of College Thoughts, where it started, where it actually came from in the story.
Yeah, there was a moment early on when Robert says it's from his favorite poem by Goethe, but that went on maybe too fast for you.
Maybe.
Fair enough. Yes, we can.
I really liked the repeating motif of the theme of the resistance line throughout the show. I thought that was really effective. Yeah, and I thought the music was so tonally dark throughout the whole piece. I really wish there had been a moment of like really up-tempo, fun lightness to kind of like soften it a little, so that when it goes dark again, it's like, oof, sucker punch. Yeah.
We had the being 21 number, but it was it wasn't exactly an up-tempo, but it had its lighter.
Yeah, it was a little lighter, but I really wish there had been more of like something that was just pure fun versus like nostalgic, like bonding.
What about the length? Do you feel like, because I know there was originally it was going to be 2 acts, and now it's a 90-minute 1 act, and how did the length strike you, and did it feel like it was ending where you wanted it to end?
First of all, I loved it. I loved the music. I loved to like sit down with you with the score and talk through lots of details at a later point. But the ending, and Mikhail and I were talking about this, when I first heard it, I thought when they were in their prison cells or the guillotine that it would end. I appreciated the material that came after, but I wonder if it might get moved around, because I thought that moment, especially with Sophie in the jail cell and knowing what was going to happen, I just...
The child of the mountain moment.
Yeah, I loved that. And then them going to their fate. And then the White Rose live on was amazing, and I feel like that, I wanted to skip right to that, even though I loved all the other stuff. That was one thing. And then I also, the White Rose will live on was a beautiful theme and powerful, and I kind of wanted to hear it foreshadowed in some way, or maybe somewhere else. So, I don't know, just an idea. And then I did love the duet. This might have been after the duet with Sophie and Hans. That was lighter, where they were reflecting about what it used to be like when they were kids.
This was always good.
Thank you. Sorry. So maybe that could be playful, and if you want more playful, maybe when they're first like printing leaflets or something that's mischievous. But the music was great, and the lyric writing in the book was really tight, and I'm really impressed.
Yeah, the stuff at the so after their executions, when we then go on to the arrest and executions of the two others, Alexander and Huber, all of this is true. So I mean, this is one of the things that Jennifer's been dealing with all along, is that so much of this, all this material is true, and some of it's verbatim.
Wow.
The sentences and that sort of thing.
Right. I'm wondering if there's some way that
it's really hard for Jennifer to not tell you what happened to Alexander.
No, and I love that, but I wonder if there's some kind of something with, again, I'm not a director, I write, but something with it not being purely linear, where we can somehow think outside of the book. Yeah, because I just, there was something about that moment with her.
And I wonder too, A Child of the Mountain doesn't have to be tied to any given moment.
Could we hear that more than once?
You could hear a reprise of it. It could be in a different place. Potentially, because it's sort of, it lives whatever it wants to live. That might help get you what you want.
I got a lot of what I want. A lot more.
I thought, I agree with what you're saying, and I thought that Sophie's exit should be left, even though it's not historical.
Yeah, so it's worth trying to figure out how to perhaps be a little non-linear or with, remembrance of, because I don't know that Sophie's execution has to be last, but the Child of the Mountain, which could come back to us after she's already been executed.
And maybe what was the thing at the end with the, sorry I'm talking too much, where she was, when the planes fly overhead and drop the leaflets, and she comes back and is oohing, right, and it's beautiful. Maybe there could be something with, and that's where the White Rose will live on, right? Maybe you could somehow conflate, is that the right word? Child of Mountain,
or at least
White Rose, or something.
A little reprise of Child of the Mountain there, so we spend a little more time with Sophie in that moment. The joy of the music. Any other thoughts or questions or?
Did you feel that, so they get caught and then it goes right to the trial? Did that feel too sudden? You know, because like stuff happens, or did that make sense as far as the
No, I thought that was fine because you just know that that's what's going to happen. You don't have to like linger.
They weren't tortured, they were just like arrested and interrogated and stuff like that.
No, so I don't think
Maybe we should see some of the interrogation.
I don't, you know, I think I tend to agree that the jump cut from you know, arrest them and then they're being tried makes sense to me, because as you say, there's this is the problem, of course, with using real life source material. You have so much, and you've got transcripts from the trials, and you know exactly what happened. But when you try to theatricalize it, there's a lot of that we don't need. And so picking and choosing is tricky. It's always tough when you're using true stories.
It's also like, don't let the facts keep you from telling a good story.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a really good way to put it. Yeah. And so was it Joseph? No, Christoph. Is that true? I just thought that was such a beautiful counterpoint to have him with the family and Sophie wanting to spare him for the cause and not some understanding. So that's all true.
Yeah, and also in the real story, she found out when she was arrested that another person was caught, and she thought it was Alexander. And her cellmate said, "Oh, don't worry, it's not Alexander. It's this other guy," and she was even more upset to find out that it was him.
Oh, that just, wow, that's just a good writer.
I love the way you depicted the rivalry between Sophie and Hans, and how, you know, she became a Frankenstein's monster.
Yes.
You know,
That scene is a lot of fun.
Somebody he couldn't control.
And Alexander keeps saying, "Let's listen to Sophie." He's like, "No, she said she'd be quiet."
That was
That's a
great.
lot of fun. Anything else that you want to know?
I don't know. I'm just curious. Like, are there any big gaps that you see? And like, my big question is, what should I be doing next? Do I have big fixes that I need to be making? Should I keep writing the sections that are not musicalized? That's sort of what I'm wondering at this point.
What are your thoughts? Do you feel like there's spots where you felt like you need more?
I mean, I think there's a lot of music that could be added, and then I think when the music is done, you need to look back at the structure of the show. And I mean, I'm happy to sit down and talk to you about this, because right now your show is like a triangle. It's like rising action, climax, falling action. So maybe there's a way to make it a little more rocky, just so that it's not just like a well-made play, you know?
I say finish it.
Yeah, I think overall, like, it all works. It all like came together, and the story is there. So it does seem like just finishing and then fine tuning.
The biggest question is going to remain the ending. What happens after Sophie and Hans and Christoph are executed? But I don't think that's a decision you have to make right now before you've written the rest of the music. It's worth considering the ideas that came into the room about keeping Sophie more present. Thinking about maybe not being non-linear. There's several different ways we could think of doing it. But,
should there be some dance sequences? You know, like Nazis.
Dancing Nazis.
And then,
well, let's put it this way. I think,
in a funny way.
I think there would definitely be room for choreography, like the factory girls at the beginning.
Oh, I love that.
And when the flyering is happening, I think there's opportunity for movement by a very creative director who knows that it isn't dance officially, but it's.
But she has room for some music.
Well, and again, that's the sort of thing that can happen during production as well. If a visionary director gets an idea for something where they have they're working with a choreographer and they feel like they don't have enough music, they'll go ask for more. That's not uncommon at all. In fact, in first class productions, it isn't even the composer who writes that music.
Oh, yeah.
It would be the music department using themes and ideas from the show would create the interstitial, the extra dance material. If you get to that point, and when you're in a smaller budget production, you often aren't going to have the money to do the big stuff. So it's a
Sounds like a lecture.
So I was just remembering what, since we're talking about the ending, about the beginning. At the very beginning, I was kind of thrown off because it just seemed so, it seemed very generic to me. Like she was lost in this reverie and talking about like something. I didn't know like who she was, where we were. So it had no like meaning or significance to me. And then as soon as I realized we're in a munitions factory, then it was very poignant because then, you know, she's there and that's what she's dreaming. I just think, to me, the first moments were kind of wasted because I didn't feel or think anything. I'm just thinking, like, what is going on here?
Mm-hmm. And did that feel like it was going on too long?
It was felt like too long and like, I don't know what's happening. I don't know who she is. I don't know what's going on. It's lovely, but it could be anywhere or anything. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I don't know exactly what to do about that. I don't know if you want to start with the munitions and then she goes into this, or
that's certainly
if her dream was more specific somehow, and then it's kind of interrupted with the sound of machines. But I just thought I'd share that. I was lost at sea, and it was the opposite of something like grabbing me and pulling me in.
Openings are often the last thing that gets written, or the thing that gets rewritten the most. And quite often it's hard to really nail what the opening is going to be until you really nail the ending.
That's a good point.
Yeah, because you need to know where you're going, know where you want to start. And it's not unusual at all for those to be.
Well, because it could relate to the last song about the mountain or something, you know, and not have that meaning, but she's just like dreaming about this and what's happening. Some kind of connection.
Yeah, it's always worthwhile to keep an open mind about your opening and your and be ready to have them change. Sometimes the whole, you know, the main viewpoint of the show, what's really powerful, doesn't really come across to you until you're further along. And that's when you go back and go, oh, now I know how I need to start this, or now I know how I need to end this. That's not uncommon. There's a story that's often told about the opening of Fiddler on the Roof. That's one of the most famous ones. That they didn't have an opening number, and it wasn't until they were in their out-of-town tryouts that the director said, we need something to get us started in the show. And what is this show about? It's about tradition. And so that's why they wrote the opening number, but it did not. It was after they were already on the road and on their way to Broadway before that number came in. Similarly, the other story people tell all the time is Forum. Funny thing happened.
Exactly. Yeah. Thinking about that.
They did their out-of-town tryouts, and it was falling flat, and people weren't laughing because the first thing they saw was this lovely young couple in love trying to get married. And it took them a long time to realize they needed a funny number to let the audience know that this was meant to be silly and goofy, so they wrote Comedy Tonight.
And I think that was his third or fourth song.
Yeah.
For the show.
Yeah. And then the show started to work once they realized, oh, this is supposed to be silly, go ahead and run. They needed that permission. Well, thank you guys so much for staying a little extra time and supporting Jennifer.
Thank you so much for everything.
Hard work. Thank you. Folks.
Thank you all for coming. I'm so grateful to NMI. I can't believe you all exist. This is like the greatest thing ever. Thank you. Can we help you put chairs away?
I need to start stacking over in that corner. Let's go up to a stack of 10.
Right? So cool.
Hurt yourself.
The sound of the time in the world they're living in
So that you can color up. 2 more on blackjack and then started talking. Yeah. Yeah, the music is really good. Great, guys. Thank you so much. Usually wind up doing all of this.
Oh, no.